Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shaunna Lee, the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Well, hello, friends, and happy Tuesday. I was giving some thought to this episode, and listen, at times this summer, while my kids were out of school, working from home with them here all day, and my boyfriend working full time from home as well, we were a little bit on the struggle bus, I'm going to tell you. Working from home with kids is no joke. And if you've been doing this, you know I'm right. But listen, if I really was a little more intentional about it, I have 5 tips for you that make it a little easier. And by a little easier, I mean we can get shit done. I am always looking for ways that I can be more productive, but efficiently. So I want the work I'm doing in the world to feel easy and fun. And one of the reasons I chose to be an entrepreneur was that I wanted to be available for my children. wh- and I've encountered along the way that there are things about this business that I really enjoy, which make it easy and fun. But it also makes it really easy for me to just keep working and to get frustrated with interruptions. And so when I am a little more intentional and I do these 5 things, it helps me to create the balance I'm looking for, right? So I'm available to my children. I'm also building this business that I love dearly. And so we're getting stuff done, but we're being efficient about it. So the first tip, I really hate this one. Um, the problem is it really works. So I know that if I wake up earlier than my children do, there is the quiet part of the day that I need. So what I will tell you is I don't always use this time for um, working. Now, if I need to use the most focus and concentration, this is not the time of the day that I do it. I um, can knock through some emails really quickly. I can do some things that are more admin like when it's the quiet part of the day. I can just knock it out really quickly before the day gets started. Um, and so it's a really helpful way for me to get some things done and check them off my list so I feel more accomplished early in the day. These are the easy wins. These are the things that need to get done. I don't need to use a lot of time or thought or energy goes into getting them done. And I can just check off the box and move on with my day. We know science has proved that our checking a box and completing something off our to-do list helps us feel better about ourselves. So doing this early in the day is a great like early win, right? So it sets you on the right path. And so I like to do the really easy ones. Sometimes that is I'm just organizing our meal plan for the week, or I'm creating my grocery list, or something that doesn't have anything to do with my business, but it's going to help my running my household go smoother. So waking up earlier than they do becomes a really good way to get that quiet time. And some days, listen, during the summer, I love that we're not waking up super early in the morning. I just know I still need to wake up earlier than they do. And then they start sleeping later. And I have older children, so they all like to sleep late in the summer. And that gives me the opportunity to still sleep in a bit, but also have that quiet time to get some stuff done. If I just sit there and enjoy my coffee like I would love to do every morning, then I'm not getting as much done as I would like to each day. So waking up earlier than they do is my first tip for you. And yes, it's probably a no-brainer, um, but there you have it. Okay, so the second one is so during the school year, this is easy, right? To use the hours that they are away for for me, recording podcasts, I try to do that during school hours. Well, during the summer, this is very difficult. So I try to create chunks of time in my day where I am knowingly, intentionally away from them. So it's harder to do that sort of thing if you've got littles at home. But for me, even when my daughter needed constant supervision and I couldn't leave her unattended to go hide in my closet and record a podcast, I would schedule play dates for her. And I actually did this summer quite a bit because she likes to stay busy and she needs a lot of attention and she gets bored really easily. She's a great reader, so I have used that actually quite a bit this summer to say, okay, today, I would create new reading challenges for her so that she had something to occupy her time while I was heads down getting some stuff done. Even as she's older, I would partner with other moms who I know who are also working from home. And when I partner with these moms, we can schedule and trade play dates. And so one day I would get the kids and one day she would get the kids. And that gives me the chunk of time I need to be intentional about getting some heads down time. I would say that is probably one of the biggest tips I have for being successful working from home. And that's whether or not you're working in a corporate job remotely or running your own business. It really doesn't matter. It's creating those chunks of time that you know that you're going to be unavailable for your children. It also helps you make your work a priority. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're building a business, you have to be the one working the business to get some shit done. So being able to schedule that time where I know my kids are entertained away from me and don't need my undivided attention is a really also a no-brainer, right? We know that we need to occupy our kids in order to get some stuff done. But during the summer, it gets difficult when they're not in school. And so that's really the second thing. And all of these are really just ways that you can be intentional about how you use your time. I have found that with kids at home and me working, if I just let the day take me where it will, I won't get accomplished what I'm hoping on each given day. I also would say that part of that being intentional and scheduling your time on purpose is that you are also identifying what you're going to get done during that amount of time. So, knowing that I want to batch record 2 podcasts, or that's when I'm going to sit down to write 3 blogs, um, really helps me to make sure that I'm staying on task and on target for where I'm going. I think it's also a really great way when you've got calls that you're scheduling, you can just make sure that you're setting aside those days on those times to do that sort of activity. So, the third one, this I think is actually a helpful tip. So, I am a self diagnosed ADD, and I find interruptions really frustrating. My third tip for you is to embrace the interruptions. Like I mentioned earlier, when you really love what you're doing or you're really highly focused on whatever the task at hand is, it can be easy for hours to go by and then we don't give our bodies the break that we need. So I have tried, and I will say this is one I'm still working on, to embrace the interruptions. So when I am sitting in my office writing an email that needs to go out that afternoon and I get interrupted because my kids need to eat again or whatever the case may be, they're always hungry, I have found. And it makes me wonder, they can't possibly eat this often when they're in school, but when they're home, they eat, it feels like on the hour, every hour. Anyways, I have tried to embrace these interruptions for giving myself a break as well. So I try to take the breaks as they come and embrace them instead of being irritated with them. So when my kids are saying, I'm hungry, I'm bored, or whatever the things are, I can say, all right, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to walk away from my computer. I'm going to walk outside or have the snack with them or remind myself that, yes, maybe now is a good time to actually eat lunch. So I try to embrace the interruptions as a way to give myself what I need as well. That has been a really helpful mechanism to give me the balance I need between building a business working from home, but also being available to my kids and doing what I need as well. So, the fourth tip is to fill your cup. You need to make sure that you're doing this every day. Now, I do this as a morning routine. And on the days I do this, I feel better as I go throughout my day. I have more of me show up in the ways that I would like for my children and my boyfriend and the people that I am serving. So, filling my cup, we hear it all the time. You can't fill from an empty cup. It's true. Or you can't pour from an empty cup. So, we know that we need to fill ourselves up in order to show up as our best selves. But what I have found is that I need to be very intentional and do this on purpose at the start of every day. And that's where a morning routine has become very important to me. And I'm pretty sure you've all heard me talk all about how important I think journaling and meditating is. I have found that on the days that I do these things for myself at the beginning of the day, the rest of the day flows easier and smoother, regardless of how busy I am or am not. So I think filling your cup first thing in the day becomes important. So whether that is, like Tony Robbins says, 20 minutes a day, moving your body, 20 minutes a day, I think he's got this whole formula, and 20 minutes of learning is important for him. So he's making sure that he's feeding his mind every day. A lot of people, that is, I'm going to watch the news first thing in the morning. Of course, you've heard me if you've heard me on my podcast with Jamie, I don't actually watch the news, but I am a big fan of reading and listening to podcasts, which is why I started one and then I started another. But that's a really great learning mechanism for me. And I'm always looking to learn some new aspect that will help my business or learn another self-help trick that will, help me evolve and grow into this best version of myself that I'm aspiring to be. But part of my morning routine is to spend time meditating because it helps me recenter and focus and be intentional about where I'm going. It reminds me of the mantras and the affirmations that I'm working towards believing. And journaling becomes a good way for me to remind myself and practice gratitude. It lets me direct where I'm going. It lets me create this future version of myself and kind of remind me where I'm going. And when I do this at the beginning of every day as a part of a morning routine, it helps me get in the right frame of mind and feel a little bit more peaceful. And that lets me show up more patient for my children. And I have found that I'm much more productive in that state of mind. So when I put myself in that frame of mind, I can be more productive. I can get more things done in a shorter amount of time, which lets me do all of those other things that I've already said. So my fifth tip is um, it's actually to save the fun, easy stuff for you to do at night. So if you think about what is the most fun aspect of your job or business or career, and if you save that to do a couple evenings a week, then it goes a lot faster. So I don't know about you. By the end of each day, I feel pretty worn out. I have learned this is actually part of my human design is that I'm designed to completely run myself to empty and then go to sleep. And when I do that, I sleep better and then I wake up refreshed. And it's almost like that's how I'm charging my batteries, but I need to let my batteries fully deplete. And I do this most days. I run at full speed. I'm going from one thing to the next. I multitask. I get a lot of things done. I'm pretty efficient. I'm very productive, but that's how I like to operate. And so when I have some aspects that, listen, as an entrepreneur, there's always something to do. So when I save the fun, easy stuff to do at night, I can get a couple nights where even though I'm tired, I can still get some stuff done. So I save the fun creating in Canva for a couple evenings a week. I save, believe it or not, editing podcasts for the evening. Once my kids are, off busy doing something, whether it's video game time or watching a movie, I can sit in the same room with them and edit a podcast fairly easily. And so it lets me check off some things, accomplish a few things in the evenings, even when I'm tired, but it has to be the fun, easy stuff. It has to be the things I really enjoy so that it doesn't feel like work. But it helps me get a few extra evenings of work in. Listen, working from home with children is a constant challenge, and I feel like we're always evolving and changing how we do that. But when I'm able to use these 5 steps, it lets me get more done. It lets me feel like I'm feeling more accomplished. I feel more productive. And part of that is just being more efficient with choosing how we spend our time and being intentional about the things we do in the opportunities and the openings that we have. So I hope at least one of these was new information for you and helpful information so that you can accomplish more in an easier way and perhaps incorporate a little fun along the way. Listen, at the end of the day, the reason we want to work remotely is so that we are more available for our children, if you have children. It's so you have some more balance in your life, so you can do fun things and be available to the people in your life that are important. So you just got to make sure that you're actually doing that and you're not just working around the clock, because that's really easy to do when work and home are the same place. So those are my 5 tips for you. Wake up earlier than they do. Use the school hours and schedule play dates to get shit done. Embrace those interruptions as they come so that you can take the breaks that you also need. Fill your cup with some sort of morning routine, and then save the fun, easy stuff to do at night. So there you go, 5 tips. Hopefully they were helpful. I am, as always, so grateful that you joined me for these Simply Shaunna episodes. I'm hoping to give you little tidbits, helpful information to set you on your way. And I want to hear about those businesses and the successes you're having. So shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm at SimplyShaunna. There, as well as other socials, the same handle. And if you haven't done this yet, please be sure that you are subscribing to the podcast so you're notified as new episodes are released. We're growing an audience here, and I appreciate every single one of your listens and your shares. So thank you again. Until next time, we'll talk soon. So whether you want to write a book, start a new business, or just put one foot in front of the other after divorce, the very first step you must take is to find your center, to align with who you really are. The way to do that is to find your very own perfect balance between body, mind, and spirit. Are you ready to figure that out for yourself? Pop on over to shaunnalee.com/align to gain access to my signature program. In just 45 minutes, you'll learn all you need to know to create your own plan to find your center. Align is the program name. Find it under services at shaunnalee.com.